Hi, this is Jenny Naslund. In this video, I will be showing you how to set up or log into your Zoom account and then how to set up the settings for student use. So the first time you go to Zoom, you're going to go to zoom.us. You'll just click in this sign in button here. Once you click and sign in, you'll just want to scroll down here so it says sign in with Google. And you are going to use your school Google account to sign in. So your 277 apps email. The first time you'll have to put in your password as well. Once you're in here, you'll come in and mine usually shows up to my upcoming meetings. You may not have any meetings here yet, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over here to the left and we're going to go down to where it says settings, and we're going to go through the settings and make sure they align with our West Tonka settings to make sure that these Zoom meetings that you run are secure for your students. So the first thing you want to make sure is that the waiting room is on. We do that because then you'll be able to see students pop in and verify that they're actually a student and let them in. That prevents trolls and other people trying to get into meetings that aren't supposed to be there. So you want to make sure that that waiting room is on. You'll see that all of these will be locked by our admin. Basically, they're requiring that you have to have a password to get in. The password is going to be set up through the URL. So the students will just have to click on that URL to get into your meeting, but it's password protected. So you do want to make sure that that URL doesn't go out, on Facebook or something like that. You want to make sure that it's sent directly to the student so that that URL stays safe. Um, and we have this embed passcode to invite link on one click turned on as well. If I keep going down, you'll see there's lots of different features that are turned off. And you can play with some of these features as you like. I'll tell you the ones that I know the district wants you to have and the ones that I have found useful when I've been using Zoom with students. Host video, I have mine on when I start my meeting. Some people like to have it off to make sure they're ready for that video to come on, so you can choose on that one. Same thing goes with participant video. This auto starts the video when they come on, especially if you're working with younger students. Sometimes figuring out how to turn on that video can be challenging. So you can decide to have the video on or off as the students come in. I've got my computer audio on. This one's important. Join before host. So I have this off, and the reason is students would be able to join the meeting and start talking to each other before you got there. So I think it's important to have this one turned off so that kids can't get into your meeting before you have started it. Enable personal meeting ID. You do want to do that. Again, it'll auto, it doesn't mean they have to do anything else, but it just makes sure it's a little bit more secure. This is also an important one I really like as a teacher. Mute participants upon entry. You can choose to have that one on or off. So that means the student won't be able to talk until they unmute themselves. But especially if you have a big group of kids coming into a meeting, it kind of makes it a little bit easier instead of them just being loud right away when they come into that meeting. Some other ones, if you decide to use the chat feature, I'm a younger grade teacher, so oftentimes I won't have this on, but I know a lot of the older grades have chosen to do this. If you choose to have it on, you want to make sure that you click this button that prevents participants from saving the chat so that they cannot save it. For privacy reasons, we don't want them to be able to do that. You also need to make sure that this private chat is off. This would allow students to message behind your back. Basically, you wouldn't know that they were chatting with each other, and you can't control anything that you can't see. So you want to make sure that they cannot message each other without you. So you want to make sure that's off. You want to also confirm that this auto saving chats is turned off so that the chats do not get saved, again, for privacy issues. So those are the chat features. If you choose to have chat on, you want to make sure it's set up in that way. I personally like this one. I have sound notifications when someone joins or leaves. So if I have this on, I put it on just so that I can hear it or anyone else hosting with me. And basically what that allows us to do is that it gives like a ding or something along those lines so that you know that somebody has joined your meeting. This works great if you're doing like at office hours or you're just going to be on for an hour or two for kids to come ask questions. That way, if you're doing something else on your computer, you'll hear that ding and you'll know that a kid is joined and is waiting to talk to you. You want to make sure that this file transfer is turned off. This would mean that they can send files between each other, and this is not the means that we would want kids to do that. So make sure that that file transfer is turned off. Let's see, some other big ones. Screen sharing. So screen sharing is great as a teacher. You want to be able to share your screen if you're sharing slides or you're showing them how to do something. You want to be able to share your screen, but you probably don't want your participants to do it unless you're having them share like a presentation or something like that. So I have it auto on, but I only have the host being able to do that. You could change that if you had a reason to have the kids share the screen with everybody in the group, but very quickly kids realize they can share their screen and you can't control necessarily what they're sharing. So I would recommend just the host has that option. Let's see. These are some of the other things I would definitely recommend that you have turned off. Um, Annotations, you don't necessarily want them to be annotating on screen, so I have that turned off. The whiteboard feature, I have turned off. That allows you to like share a whiteboard. Now, there might be purposes for that, and basically what the district says with both the annotation and the whiteboard feature, if you have a reason to use it, go for it, but otherwise it might just become a distraction. So recommend that you turn it off, and then if you have a reason to turn it on. Let's see what else. This is an important one to know. Allow removed participants to rejoin. So basically, sometimes if a kid can't get off of a meeting, this happens with younger grades, you might remove them from the meeting, but this setting means that they can't come back in. So if for some reason you remove a student and you can't get them to come back in, you might have to go turn this on and then turn it back off again. The reason that you might want it off most of the time is that, let's say somebody gets into your meeting that is not a student that you don't want there, you want to be able to kick them out and you don't want them to be able to join back in. So it's kind of like a little security feature, but just know that if you remove a student because they couldn't get off and then you let them, then they can't get back in until you turn this feature on and allow them back in. Turning off the allow students to rename themselves if you don't want them to change their name a bunch of times. That's really important. Let's see. Okay, breakout rooms. So if you decide to use breakout rooms allow you to break up into smaller groups. This allows you to do that. You can decide there's great reasons to use breakout rooms, but then there's also, depending on the age of the kids, if you're not necessarily in that room at all times. So setting up expectations and those type of things, if you decide to do that. If you turn it on, you can click here and this will allow you to assign the rooms. So I think, here's another one that a lot of teachers decide to turn off is virtual backgrounds. Again, if you have a reason to have kids select a background, you can, but it can also become a distraction for many kids. So a lot of teachers will choose to turn off this virtual background feature. I think that's the big ones. Let's scroll all the way down here and make sure I didn't. I like to get emails if someone's waiting for me or if a meeting is canceled. So you can choose if you want to get those email notifications. If you take a snapshot of your window, this would blur names and those type of things. And I think that's about it. So those are the big settings. I know that was a lot of information. You can also check out the West Tonka Zoom setting document that is in our Schoology course. But this is the overview of how to set up your settings with Zoom to work with students. Thank you.